Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to take a look at some more error cards from E4 in the Show Off Your Error Cards thread. If you haven't joined the forum, you probably should. Great spot. Discord is very cool as well. Alright, Shocker B37 is going to show us a Pidgey here. It might be hard to see, but there is a stamp that got transferred onto the back of this card. So it seems like the stamps were added at the final step, which is why the shadowless cards are the same as the first edition ones without the stamp, mostly because they were probably leftovers. So here we see the stamp wasn't dry on the sheet that was stacked with this one. So we end up with this little transfer of ink onto the back of the cards. Quite common. I've seen it quite a few times on energies for whatever reason. Maybe they were pumping those out super fast or something. Next up, we have Karis, who has a Zapdos with some Hollow Bleed evolutions. Sort of a, I wouldn't say super common, but definitely something that happens with that set. Very cool nonetheless. We have Cinnamon Bun, who's going to make quite a few appearances in this video and probably in the thumbnail. We have a Blastoise and Piplup that is twisted sideways. Very cool. And the even the backside picture as well. Sort of neat to see them side by side. I think he's been searching far and wide for these crooked miscuts. This one here even more ridiculous. I don't even know how this manages to get in a pack, but apparently it did. Severely messed up, almost sideways to an extent, which is wild. Normally something this bad, you kind of have to look to make sure that the borders aren't normal on them. It almost looks like it was cut properly one way but not the other. I don't know how this even still managed to get through the process of being packaged, but it did somehow. And if the borders weren't so wide, I would be a little bit skeptical that someone just took scissors to it. Davemon has a Clefairy here with some vertical stripes, almost like jail bars. Kind of neat. And it turns out that this was an actual thing. I don't think I've ever seen these before at this point, but a couple of other members chimed in. Less prominent on these, but Cinnamon Bun has some as well. You can see the vertical bars a little bit there, but not quite as well. It might show up better in person too. This Zapdos has them as well, as a little bit of Hollow Bleed. So I don't know exactly what happened there, why the bars showed up. It could be just that I wasn't looking for it, that I haven't seen it before, but it doesn't seem like a common thing. But I guess common enough that a couple members had copies of those or had seen them before. M has a Raichu with some severe bleed all the way across the card. It shows up really crazy on these. I think I have some Generations cards that are bleedy like this as well, and maybe even a Raichu, but just not enough ink covering the hollow foil. And this one shows up really prominently. This I don't know what you call this hollow foil, the one that's basically just shimmery all the way across. There's no real pattern or anything in it other than the rainbow effect that comes across at an angle at a 45. Redisneak has a Blastoise here, Plasma Blastoise with 2012 and 2013 copyrights. I did not know this existed, but we aren't there yet in the error cards where we're going through each set. That's a different video series. But I would assume that the 2013 one was probably put into like a theme deck or something like that, where it would have a different copyright date or maybe a later print run. I think more likely that it was in something and in terms of a different product that they would have the different date on it. They updated it. Pun intended. Charmeleon. So this guy is fake. The forum noticed that pretty quick. The text is off a little bit. The energy symbol is off. So he was thinking that the error was that it evolves from Vulpix instead of Charmander, but that's just because it's a fake card, unfortunately. If you're unsure if something's fake, usually the best way, if you don't have a direct comparison, is to check the backside of it against any other card that you have laying around. And if the gloss and or color is off, or it looks a little bit foggy or blurry, it's probably a fake card. Yeah. So here we have the Empoleon lv.x that has Poke Power, or it has Poke Body instead of Poke Power here. So another error. I believe they were all like this, so uncorrected. Up next we have Paradise MTL with a Fossil Ammonite with what appears to be an ink splash on the middle left of the card. So I don't know. Some of these it might be chemicals or something got on there and the ink didn't adhere properly, or here it might be just that it got splashed with some yellow ink in a spot where it wasn't supposed to have yellow ink. Hard to say. And Grurutan has a Beedrill here with a another little inky mistake and or a chemical thing going on. Looks like a little bit of red ink, but then around it, it looks like the other ink didn't quite adhere properly, so hard to say what happened there as well. Probably something in the printing process or something that was on the cardstock itself that messed with it a little bit. M Thirsty has a Professor Elm's training method. I think I have one something similar to this. So the printing layers are off. I think the black layer, one of the black layers is off. So you end up with this like really blurry kind of look to the card itself. I don't know if it got shifted in the process of getting printed or when that layer got put on. Whether that was a digital thing or even the sheet itself getting shifted slightly and then printing in the wrong spot. Not sure. We have Ty, or TY, who says, just made a trade for this error card and a handful of other cards. So pretty cool. We got the No Stage Blastoise here. A little bit hard to see with the small image, but we've seen him already in previous videos. So nice error, nice ongoing, repeatable thing. Redisneak has the Venonat with the line down the left side here. Also a repeated error. Had I just seen the one copy of this, it almost looks like someone took a pen and drew a line down the side of it here, but they came like that. Polytoad 666 has a couple Uxies. We got some smudge on the the level area here, the haunter as well, the stage part up above. It's a little bit of ink, smudgy error, whatever you want to call it. We have the Poke Body instead of Poke Power Empoleon on the left. And then the Dialga here, or the Dialga, has the energy symbols have the colors swapped. I don't know if that was ever corrected as well. It might have been, might not have been. King Boo 64 shows us a slanty Celebi V. So we got a little bit of a twist on him. Very cool. The Fierce Storm has 3 energies here, probably opened from the same product. They unfortunately don't line up, even though they're the same energies. They're probably from the same sheet or from the next sheet. They got the same sort of slanted cut, but where they're not on the same row, they weren't cut next to each other. They don't perfectly line up. Looks like they should, but they do not. Cinnamon Bun has the same sort of thing going on here with the Entei and the Mewtwo GX. This one's really cool because you got the color. You can start to see a little bit of the color bar on the edge of the sheet itself, which you normally don't get to see unless there's a full sheet or unless something is massacred in this way. Beedrill. Right. So took me a second to remember or notice, but this is the defending Beedrill where it's got the D period offending down at the bottom here. Pretty cool. We have Rattlesnake with a War Turtle, and he is missing part of the weight here. And I don't know, I haven't seen this before, so I don't know if it's like a one-off or if anyone else has these. It's weird that the Blastoise and the War Turtles seem to always have the most mistakes made. Rattlesnake also has a Ninetales, and it looks like this one was a promotional version of this card included in Stage 1 blisters was incorrectly printed with the Undaunted set symbol instead of the Heart Gold and Soul Silver symbol. And I believe this was the same case with the Vulpix from the same product. We have the Zoroarks here, and this took me a minute. I was like, what am I looking for? I didn't know if the colors were off or something. But so I also didn't know that this was even a thing, or I didn't pay enough attention to notice it. But the Stage 1s are supposed to have a border that looks like this up at the top. So this is the corrected version, you would call it. And this is the error version, which is pretty wild because it's on one of the secret rare cards. So here you can see that this Stage 1 comes down, and I believe this was supposed to be on only the Stage 2 Pokemon, but Zoroark accidentally got the treatment, the border treatment, and you'll see there's extra fins over here on the right side of the top here. Pretty cool. Learned something new. Hopefully you guys did as well with that. Trainer DL Yellow says a friend pulled this back in the day. They might have. This concerns me a little bit that it might be sun bleaching, mostly because that's the sort of colors that you're left with at the end. You got a little bit of blue, and you have the black that still kind of stays pretty prominent. So it could be that it's missing some of the color layers. But be careful with stuff like this, just because if someone like taped off the yellow and then taped off the top or something, then they could definitely bleach it to look like this. I don't know. Maybe where it's like splattered here, that's a better indicator that it isn't. It would also be easier to tell in person if you take a look under magnification to see if there's where it's fading and how it's fading around this edge piece where it's normal at the top. The Fierce Storm shows us a Nidorino that has a 9 printed over the 4 on the bottom here, which is cool. I don't know how these errors exist or why they exist. It's weird. It would have to be on the template end, I would think, in the software, where they accidentally have a number over top of another number. Maybe they can add like a text box or something, and they accidentally had one left over that it overlapped like that. But we also saw this as time shows us here. There's a Crobat with some other letters over top of the name. So it'd be cool to know exactly how that happened. Probably just another layer that was accidentally left on. But it's weird. You would think that there would be more of that, but maybe they caught it at some point, but only after some of them got sent out. And then at that point, you would think that they wouldn't be able to correct it until the next wave. So I don't know. This is weird. I don't know how that happened and in such low numbers, but it did. Last but not least, we have Papa Frank God with the Giovanni's Magikarp miscut. We got the Koga's Tangela miscut. Very cool. We got the next card showing up on the bottom here. I love when that happens. Really makes it better. It'd be cool if we could see the name of the Pokemon, but I'm sure if you take a look at the set, you could probably figure out which ones are there. Or even better, down below here we have the Tangela that attaches to the Magikarp. Pretty cool. And unfortunately, we'll probably never see the the next card down at the bottom here. That's it. That's all. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.